Went quick. We got up quick today.
Dang.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Monday Night Live.
Yes, the best night of the week.
With the lovely Kate Simmons. I'm Dean Nixon out of St. George, Utah. We're excited to join you with TurningLeaf Health and Wellness and able to share with you and talk with you about helpful personal development concepts and tools that will help you move you and your life and family and loved ones forward.
Absolutely. And as always, he loves to share with you what our mission is, and I love to share you what we've been doing. We had a wonderful weekend. 2 weekends in a row, we got to be in the seminar space, which is just something that we love to do. We had a level 2 weekend seminar this last weekend, our discernment seminar, and had 11 incredible individuals go through and graduate from that process.
Yes, it was fun.
So we want to give a big shout out, congratulations, and love from our heart to yours for everyone that was in that seminar. You guys did an amazing job. And we can't wait to see you wherever you are.
On any of our feeds here, any of our 5 feeds.
In that growth zone, because it is just a phenomenal space. So to get to our topic for the day,
yes,
I'm very, very excited, as I know is Dean, to be having a conversation with you all today about International Women's Day.
International Women's Day, which I think is pretty profound.
Yes, absolutely. It's been so fun. I don't know if you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have, seeing all of the women empowerment posts come through the social medias, all of the female love that's just been going around as we really do celebrate that feminine. And really, I think that we can kind of maybe bring this into our conversation out, but that feminine inside all of us, right? Yep. Like today especially is a day set aside to really be grateful for all of the women that we have in our life around the world. But I think that it would be a little bit disservice not to talk about how the fact that we all have a feminine side inside of us.
True. Very true.
And so that is what we were going to be talking with you today about. So, by the way, I know I probably speak about this all the time, but I have this wonderful group that I do every single Wednesday night. It's our women's support and empowerment group every single Wednesday. And it really is one thing that I am super passionate about, which is the gathering together and support of women, because I'm actually really excited to have this conversation with you, because growing up and through like movies and things that we see, the sister to sister relationship, the female to female relationship, the woman to woman relationship isn't oftentimes portrayed as something that is healthy and that is really a beautiful experience. You know, there's that Mean Girls Club that happens. Like if you seen the movie Mean Girls, and female relationships get like labeled as being like catty, or there's a lot of competition and jealousy that has happened in years past. But I think something that's incredible, as I've been really in the women empowerment, connection, support, love, encouragement space over the last couple of years, is I feel like our planet is making a shift in that direction as well.
True.
That's my experience, what it is that I see. And maybe that's just because I get to hang out with incredible women who are all in a space of wanting to just have a safe space to be able to share their thoughts, feelings, and their hearts with each other, and then help one another.
Right. It is such an important piece for us to recognize, as you brought in the both sides of it, is really understanding and honoring the power of women in our lives, but also to empower the feminine within the balance of the yin and yang, so to speak, and the wholeness. And there's a nurturing side in men. There's a masculine side. There's a feminine side. And a lot of times we have to work to break down a lot of social barriers that define it. We have to break down a lot of the social beliefs and familial beliefs that keep us from being able to embrace that side. I know, as a son, as a husband, and as a father, learning to embrace the feminine side of who I am, or the nurturing side of who I am, has nothing to do with taking on characteristics that would make me less masculine.
Certainly.
And I think that's where we get into trouble as men, is we think that that in order to become more embracing of our feminine side or that nurturer side, we have to somehow cast off some level of masculinity and surrender it in some form of domestication process. And that's not true at all. But it is also about honoring, women globally and recognizing the power of women in our lives and the power of how that moves us forward and what brings us forward in that creation space. And as you talked about globally, there's this whole change where we are starting to become more aware of Mother Earth, so to speak.
Yes.
And as we become more connected to Mother Earth and we start to focus more on not what can Mother Earth do. And I think we went through this. There was a period of time, and here's my tangent.
I love it.
Right? So forgive me and bear with me, because as people have laughed, I love historical information that may seem trivial to other people, but to me, it's a social global understanding of who we are as humans. So back in the day, we were very much in tune with the world. And we talk a lot about this. There's a lot of those that have written about the difference between, Earth time and clock time. We hear it from Eckhart Tolle, from Deepak, from so many others. I just can't think of all of them right now.
Brilliant.
But there's this reality of we've become out of sync, and we've started living more by clock time than we have been Earth time. And there was a period of time where we did function and flow with the seasons, and that was the way we moved forward as humanity. And we worked with Mother Nature to bring forth, what it could bring forth to help us. Well, once we got into that industrial revolution, and we started building factories and machines, and tried to kind of, in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, exploit the earth to benefit us. We changed that relationship with Mother Earth, and not only did we change the relationship with Earth time, we changed our relationship with clock time, where now we are more dependent, and we actually believe we can control time, daylight savings time.
Right, exactly.
By the way. We believe we can control time to benefit us, and this kind of this egocentric view has really driven our relationship with the feminine out of balance. And the feminine, not only with women as an empowered part of us, but also the feminine nurture within, the feminine side or nurture side within ourselves. We start believing that if you're more feminine, then you're not masculine and all this nonsense. And that's not true at all. It's actually quite the opposite. The more in touch with your feminine side a man becomes, the more masculine he becomes. And that's an important, I know it seems counterintuitive, but I can promise you it's true.
Right. Well, it's all about just finding that balance, that place of homeostasis inside of you, right? So you're not like, I love that analogy because it really works for me, that idea of not being too acidic, right? And being more in balance with all of those places, which each of us have that within us, right?
Right.
In my women's group this year, we're really working on just discovering our inner warrior goddess.
Yep.
And I love that visualization. We talk about this every Wednesday, about that strong masculine warrior inside of all of us, as well as that divine nurturing in flow and ease and surrender feminine.
Right.
To be able to come into balance, to be able to create in such a more unique and harmonious way the life that you're wanting to live. And I love that you're bringing that in, like at your perspective as a man, to be able to say, the more I get in touch with those feminine places inside of me, actually, the more masculine I feel and become.
Absolutely.
Because you're feeling more whole.
And more balanced.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say the same for me, right? If to be able to get a little bit more in communication and understand my inner warrior and allow that to come forward, or my masculine side in that balance inside of me as well as a woman.
Yeah, it's that insecurity within your own masculinity that drives you to be, too overly the top manly. And the more that you can find the balance, the more grounded and the more confident and the more masculine you become. And so when we look at this idea of women and powerful women in our world, the one thing that comes to me, and I may change our gear, shift direction a tiny bit, but to me, I look at how powerful women are in the world in general, because every man or woman that comes into this world has to come through you as a woman. And because of that, we are prone as a species, male and female, to really listen and be nurtured by a woman more. Now, we have through centuries back, there was a period of time, the Inquisition period of time, when a lot of disempowerment of the woman and trying to create this patriarchal idea of us. And I love how I think it was Deepak really talked about it, in the sense that we really kind of disempowered women as a guide, a spiritual guide, a leader in our world, etc. during that period of time. I see that evolution coming back. I see us becoming more inclined and more open to, and I know, again, I attribute it to my mother. My mother was a very forward-thinking woman. She was one that she would not let you talk disparaging about other races. She would not let you talk disparaging about other individuals that have different choices of gender, who they loved in their gender. And she taught us to really honor that, and taught me to really honor that and value that as a very young child. And so as a man growing up, those are things that are values to me, but they were taught to me by a woman. My father was an influential man as well, because he valued her opinions and edified her opinions. So I think on a day like today, to me, I honor my mother for that. I honor the strong women in my life. The majority of the people that have influenced my life have been women. And I've had a lot of male influences as well, but women have probably been the most impactful.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that there is the conversation, right? And the space at the table to be able to have these conversations. And if you can remember, if you watched our live last week, and if you haven't, go check it out. We talked all about looking to generations past in order to be able to understand and not to cast blame, right?
Correct.
So we can talk about all those years and generations where women were disempowered and were cast aside and not even given a seat at the table to make any discussion or forward motion in societies, and how incredibly beautiful it is to be living here in 2021 and for that to be different. And I feel like we've made huge shifts and motions over the last recent few decades, obviously, as we can go back and look at all of, the women that rise in history as examples of feeling empowered and making a stand and showing up and letting their voices be heard, and all of those incredibly beautiful things, where today the climate is different. It is I know in my heart, and I have to believe that it is becoming more and more balanced and equal every single day. Yeah.
And I think that the ground is more fertile for the seeds that have been planted than ever before, where a lot of that work on the soil has been done over the last 3 or 4 generations by women that would no longer sit down. That were willing to be heard and to be seen and to speak up and to speak out. And to that, I honor you and respect you for that, and thank you for that most of all, because that shift in energy, what I've seen, the benefits I've seen from this change in women being more empowered, is I've seen a kinder, more compassionate world, more empathetic towards human needs and human interests. Now, spending the last 31 years of my career in the mental health industry, I will tell you that when in the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where I spent my growing up years, there was not this energy. There was not this acceptance. There was not this personal development that it was called, has become known as. And I truly believe that that's because of the work that was done to shift the energy and to make people pay attention.
Yes.
And, I think back even to the influencers. I remember back to Saturday Night Live. And for those of you out there, Gilda Radner and some of the other gals on there that really were shaping the way individuals like myself as a young man watching that really saw the way women were differently than they had been seen, with the Beaver Cleaver worlds.
Yes.
Leave It to Beaver world. And though, I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. I'm just saying that shift was powerful. And as a consequence of that, here we are on all these platforms, 5 different platforms. And I attribute our ability to be reaching you right now to the power of women, opening us up to, hey, there's more to life than just work, grind. We have to take care of people. We have to love people. We have to nurture people. And that came from the feminine. And in the men that embraced that side as well and brought that on was a powerful piece of it as well. There's a lot to the equation, is my point.
Absolutely, 100%. And that's exactly where my brain was going. So not only was it all of the women who were brave and felt empowered to be able to start making those shifts and changes, like you were talking about, putting all of that work into the soil that has brought us to where we are, but also the brave masculine who opened up and created space for it and said,
listened and
yes,
empowered.
We need this perspective. We need this balance, and that we are all better together.
Yeah.
Not anyone in exclusion, but all of us together to be the best that we possibly can be. I completely agree. There's so much to be just so grateful for and to feel empowered about, all of us, on International Women's Day.
Right.
100%. And once again, I shouted out to our live from last week, because we got to be really careful when we look to the past to be like, oh, shame on them, right? Because what we can do is learn and be grateful for where we are now, and look to that as something that we don't want to be experiencing anymore. We're choosing something differently.
Yeah.
But I have to believe in my heart of hearts also that the people that were living in those times through the ages were also just doing the best that they could with what they had.
Well, that was all the information that was available.
Exactly.
And going back, I know I'm in tangent again.
I love it.
Historically, but we need history, people. We've got to get history, and we've got to teach history. We've got to teach all this stuff. It's not getting taught anymore, and it scares me. But the reality is that back in what we call the Dark Ages, back in that period of time of the Inquisitions, and during this period of time where they were really working to control, it was limit education, limit people that can receive education, limit people that can read and write and think for themselves. And then we tell them what they think and we tell them what they feel. Now, here's the thing. I'm a little scared about that because it's kind of happening with social media. A very similar process is happening. Be aware, a very similar process is happening. They're controlling us, what we see and what we think and what we feel. And that, if you haven't watched Social Dilemma on Netflix, everybody watch it.
Highly recommended.
Watch it, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Well, during this period of time, the information was limited. People were basing their understanding and their knowledge of the world on the information and knowledge that they were fed. So we've got to understand there was no mental nutrition back in that period of time. It was very limited mental nutrition, very limited emotional nutrition. Now we live in a world where there is physical nutrition everywhere abound, and there's emotional and mental nutrition everywhere abound. And that's why we're thriving. And a lot of that comes from, the balance, which is the feminine and the masculine being balanced.
Absolutely. So with the limited time that we have left, just a ginormous shout out to all of the beautiful, incredible women in my life, how impactful. I made a post today, and I sincerely mean it. I made a little post that has a mirror on it, and that says, this is all the women that inspire me. And then did a little arrow pointing to the mirror and said you, because I really am. I'm completely inspired really by most everybody, right? Like every individual, but it is International Women's Day. So I'm going to call all the ladies out and encourage you as always to really embrace all of you, to feel empowered to speak your thoughts, your needs, your ideas, and show up in the world and in your life to help continue this culture that we're creating and that we've created of powerful women and of standing next shoulder to shoulder with all of the powerful men as well who are working to make our world better. And I know I am grateful to always be shoulder to shoulder with a man who is working tirelessly to make this world better. I feel gratitude every single day.
Oh man,
for you, Dean.
You.
So
you're very kind. And before you, I was going to make sure that I said thank you to you. Oh. And so I don't mean that to sound like I'm just responding because you said it, but I sincerely mean it. To be able to show up every week and to be able to do what we do, a lot of that energy comes from you. Mm. And Kate is a big thanks to Kate. I hope all of you just like and heart right now, because this is a powerful woman who is working to create big changes in our world and spends a lot of time and a lot of energy working on these things. Girl, I Got You, etc. And she and Jamie Leitner, another powerful woman in our family here at TurningLeaf. Really, these two women are working so hard to create a platform for all of you women out there to have a voice and have understanding and knowledge. When she creates her support group, I can't even tell you, like, if you haven't come to the support group here on Wednesday nights, ladies, you need to be here. It is like it's the coolest thing I've ever experienced or seen in my life. I leave here, Wednesday night heading home, and I peek in that room, and it's just full of all of these women that are empowering each other and supporting each other and loving each other. There's no judgment. It's the coolest experience. And a lot of that is because of the energy that you have brought and the energy you bring to us. So if you didn't like and heart all that a moment ago, you can right now and show Kate love. She's amazing. So we are over time.
Yes.
So, being International Women's Day, I'm going to let you sign us off.
All right. Well, as always, from us here at TurningLeaf, we love you. Please, please, please help like and share our messaging so that we can. Oh, yay! I love you guys. So that we can, share the love. We love to say that, to be able to take it to your dinner tables, your water coolers, have conversations. Reach out to those that you know and that you love to get them the information that we try so hard to bring you every single week. And especially, I feel like today is kind of like one of those Valentine's Day experiences, right? Like, be an expression of love and gratitude to the women in your life every single day. But especially today, you're given a wonderful opportunity to allow all the women that have made an impact on you to be able to understand that. Let them know that. We as human beings, we love to hear that. Masculine or feminine, we love to feel appreciated. So reach out and give someone that you love that has made an impact on your world, some woman, the notice. Tell them that you take notice. I'm tripping over my words here, but we love you guys. Have a wonderful week. It's spring. The time is changing. All that stuff is happening, and we will see you next Monday Night Live.
Good night.
Good night. Oh, this one's going
All right. You crack me up, man.